Good morning, good evening, wherever you may be around the world or across the globe. Once again, you are listening to the VMware Community's Roundtable Podcast. This is podcast number 434. My name is Eric Nilsson, and with me today I have my co-host, special guy, Corey Romero. Today is Wednesday, May 30th, 2018. Corey, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Eric. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. As traditionally, the last few days, we're still trying to get video cameras and audio working across the board, so we're getting a late start again.
Yeah.
So it's fine, and our normal co-host John White is not with us today, so we're just going to be running without a Bay Area Bay report today. Color the Bay report.
Yeah, no Bay report. We're just going to go guerrilla style podcast. Yeah. All right.
It's kind of cold and windy here, so if I were to guess, I would say it's dark brown with shades of kind of off green, right? But I don't know because we didn't drive across the bay, so no idea. And Elsa Mayer, she's home today too, so we just have nobody that drove around the Bay Area today, so we'll just run with that. On the show today we have Jihad Afon. I don't know how to say Jihad's last name either. Director of Design at VMware, and we have Anne-Marie Panilio, User Experience Research Lead. And I'm sure we'll get them on the call shortly. They're here, and we'll talk about what's going on. We'll get their proper last names and chat about some of the stuff we've got for at VMware around product design. And they have a program that they do, and spend a lot of time on user experience research. So it should be a good show today. But before we get to that, we'll do a little bit of the news. In the sense of the Bay Area and what's happening with VMware. We have some news around code. We are excited about the VMworld Code program. They're going to be running at VMworld this year. We have announcement going out around power sessions. So the code program is looking for guys that are going to be doing power sessions around PowerShell, REST APIs, Python. So we're working with some of the guys from Cloud Native to launch that. So watch this week. We're going to be making some announcements around sessions, power sessions, as well as some passes to get you to VMworld. At the same time, we're going to be running vBrownBag and the standard community tech sessions. So that's going. So call for papers are out for that. So look for that. I don't know if there's any other news, Corey, with regard to what's happening at VMware, but those are the two big things that we're working on that we're going to be talking about in the next few weeks. And I know Elsa's going to be announcing some of the VMware code programs we have. We're also going to be announcing the hackathon. The hackathon will start early this year, where we're going to be doing it online for 4 weeks, and then once it goes online for 4 weeks, teams will be able to compete and then come together at VMworld and showcase what they worked on. So that's also happening. Other big news items, I don't believe I know of any other big news items. So unless other people in chat have some interesting big news items, I think we'll get on to our guests. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see anything in chat.
Yeah. Great. But before we get on to our guests, I also have a special guest joining me today in the room at the square table for the Community Roundtable. I'd like to introduce an intern that we brought on board. Her name is Alexa Freeberg. So Alexa, thanks for being in the room today at the table. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. With regard to, we always ask all of our guests, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you in life? I know you're an intern, so you're probably at university somewhere. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how long you've been at university, what university you're in, and what your experience at VMware is so far?
So I'm actually a student at the University of Connecticut. I've been there for 2 years, so I'm going to be a junior next year. I've lived in the Bay Area my whole life, so I fly 3,000 miles across to University of Connecticut. I'm a biology major. Anything else you would like to know?
No. So let's say UConn, from the Bay Area, living in Bay Area during the summer,
yes.
And drive to work here. Nice to have people present, and you didn't have to put you up in an apartment. So that's good. What's your experience so far here?
It's been great. I've met a lot of new people, a lot of people that are very passionate about their jobs and very interesting to talk to.
Good, good. Well, we're always looking forward to new community people, and you'll be on the social channels, I would assume, a little bit. You're working on community as a service and kind of VMTN work. So you should probably be experiencing the moderators at some point, as well as just getting to know all the people that are working around VMTN, the community, online communities, and so forth. So watch out for Alexa Freeberg. Are you on Twitter?
I am, but I don't use it.
You don't use it yet? Okay. Well, I would normally say follow her at something. Do you know what your Twitter handle is?
It's Alexa Freeberg.
Alexa Freeberg. A-L-E. How do you spell Alexa Freeberg?
ALEXAFRIEBERG.
Okay, there you go. So she's new. You have over 100 followers yet? Not yet?
I have no idea.
There you go. All right. Well, new intern for the summer, so we're excited to have her here working on the VM10 community programs, kind of what Katie and crew were working on before, and we introduced Jennifer Gonzalez last week, and she's working with Jenny. So welcome to our ecosystem. Thanks for being part of the team, and we'll probably have you on at the end of the year and see or the end of the summer and see what you experience. You're not going to be at VMworld.
No, I start school one day before VMworld.
Ah, you miss out. Okay, good. All right, with that, well, let's get to our guest, Jihad. You're on. Well, I guess we'll start with you, then we'll get to Anna Marie. So, Jihad, tell us a little bit about what you do at VMware and how long you've been at VMware, and what are you working on these days?
Sure. Thanks for having us. So my name is Jihad Akone. I've been at VMware for 7 years this year. And I lead the design team for VMware, so the user experience team. We work on a wide range of products, almost all of the VMware product portfolio. And our focus is 100% on the user. How do we bring the best user experiences to the market? How do we continue to ship products that have new features, new capabilities, while continuing to maintain the high level quality, and how do we make it simpler for our users to, build, manage, operate, automate their infrastructure.
Nice. Okay. And Anna Marie, you're here as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do as well? How long have you been at VMware?
Sure. I have been at VMware since September of 2016, so a little bit more than a year and a half now. And I am a UX researcher. And when I started, I was embedded on the vSphere client and working on improvements to go into the HTML5 client. And about half a year ago, I started working on a framework for research to scale across all of our products at VMware. And I think that's what we're here to talk a little bit about today.
Great. So who wants to start out and give us the elevator pitch of what is the VMware Design and Product Research Program?
I can do that.
Okay.
So what we know and what we take our inspiration from really is something that a long-time practitioner of usability and design, been in the field way before it was referred to as user experience. His name's Jared Spool, and he says through his research that teams that spend the most time watching people use their products have the products that have the most improved design. And it really makes sense. So the more that the whole team is exposed to actual people using their products and failing at using their products, the quicker improvements will come along. And so we are building this into our daily work now with VMware Design, where we really want to emphasize the importance of how people are using our products today, what they need, and so that we can all understand how we need to move forward together to change the product and improve them and come up with new products.
So that's
So the product.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Pretty big scope in the sense of we must have like 50 different products now with engineering teams that are working on all the different products and all the user interfaces that are happening. So I can imagine now that it's a big job. Are you guys parsing this problem out into certain products? How do you onboard teams to start spending time looking at customer interaction? And have you started onboarding some of the core engineering teams to start this process of watching users use the products?
We're moving in that direction. We've already been doing this in small teams. So the vSphere team, we have had engineering and product management sit in and observe the sessions that we have with users trying out prototypes and things like that. But VMware is an engineer-driven company, and the ratio of designers to engineers is very
small.
Narrow.
Yep, right. Yep, sure.
And so it's definitely going to be a culture shift in order to get everyone to embrace this change. But we have been showing the value of it already, and so the more that we do it, the more that we are able to invite them along, take out the complexity of what we've been going through in
Right.
setting up these sessions with users. The better it's going to be for everyone.
Right. That makes sense.
There's no doubt that people want to be building the best designs possible. It's just a matter of getting the observations and insights in early enough so that it can be built.
Right. That makes sense. What are some of the well, I guess we can either start with how do you find people, which is always interesting to see. How do you actually collect people from the customer base to interview them? So let's talk through that a little bit. Like, how do you find people? Do you reach out internationally? Do you reach out domestically? How do you get people in a room to? What's the operational model for that?
We spread out and try to get people from as many places as possible. There are already a lot of people at VMware that talk with users, and so some of our outreach is going to them. So people like our TAMs and even people in support, and they have a lot of contacts that they can refer to us. We also created a landing page called at VMware.design, where you can sign up. Anyone can sign up there to be part of the program, and we have had a lot of success recently. When the official launch really was about a month ago, and we've gotten a pretty good turnout already, just with social media outreach on Twitter. And we've also been going to VMA's UserCons. I think we've been to 4 now this year, and we talk to attendees there and get them to sign up. So we're going out to as many places as possible. Hopefully we'll find some more people to sign up through the podcast.
Right, exactly. So part of you being here is to let people know of the product or of the program, and then encourage people to come engage with the program to be able to share their experience. Right.
Exactly. Yep.
Right. Do we have a URL for where people go sign up for this program today?
Yes, it's VMware.design /research.html.
Okay, VMware.design. What did you say? Say it again. One more time.
VMware.design.
VMware.design.
/research.html.
All right, so you have your own domain, VMware.design, and then /research.html. Right, so perfect, or you should just be able to say research without the HTML. It'll default to that. So great. So you're running your own site. Go sign up for the program. You've started this about a month ago to sign people up. Have you experienced any kind of aha moments yet, or learnings around what are some of the challenges of doing this process? I'm just curious what your experience has been yet so far. Is it too early to know for sure what's happening there?
It's a little too early with the program. We've gotten a lot of aha moments over the past year before this program. When we do have sessions with users, we had a really great turnout in person at VMware in our design studio, and a lot of the feedback and conversations that we had and usability testing that we did, those changes have already been getting implemented into the product, into products such as vSphere and VROP. So there's been a lot of really great things that we've learned from our users so far, but we really want to expand that to just a couple times a year, to be doing it, on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And also want to expand our pool of people, because a lot of times we talk to the same people, and we want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of as big of a cross of our users as possible, especially as the industry is changing and technology is changing and the way people use our products is changing. So it's never going to end. We're always going to be needing to talk to people,
Sure.
To
Right.
understand what they're doing.
Right. Jihad, as long as you're here, I'll try to throw you a question, see if I get some response. So from a big program perspective, one of the challenges I've always had with the design is that designing at a big enterprise is that I get 10,000 ideas, right, or good ideas, and you're always constrained on how many you can implement. So are you experiencing from the big program perspective, are you guys trying to figure out how to manage expectations when you're driving design throughout the product lines?
Yeah, I think so. To add a little bit to the previous questions, what Anna Marie said, I don't think it's an aha moment, but we kind of knew this. I think there's a huge kind of need internally, and there is a huge desire to talk and observe customers internally, and the community delivers externally as well. So there is a huge need externally for people to share with us their ideas and concepts. So we're focused on how do we make that connection, and we're really excited about where we can take this. On ideas internally, I think you're right. There are a lot of ideas that we can implement, but I think one thing that we learn again and again from customers is that we want to understand the why behind these ideas, kind of what are we delivering to customers that would really improve their lives, and how many ideas can we deliver while maintaining quality, while maintaining a good user experience, while maintaining ease of use, and so on and so forth. So I think it's the same as Steve Jobs saying that the ideas you say no to are the ones that are more important versus the one you kind of choose to go for. And it's really true for every product, for every feature within a product, and so on. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. I mean, I always tell all of my new interns specifically that the most important skill set to learn in business is what to say no to, right? Because you do get a large number of, and by process of elimination, you can actually end up with one or two really great ideas, right? Because if you really learn how to say no to some of them, you can. Now, user design, some of these things probably are things that are actually free, right? And how much of this is just a mindset of teaching the engineering base how to think of the customer first? Is some of these programs focused on that?
Yeah, so we do I think a lot about how we so we do truly believe that there is a huge need at any company, enterprise company, specifically as we bridge the gap between consumer and enterprise user experiences. But there's a huge need for any company to focus on design and invest in product designers and a design team. But there's also a need to understand that design is not a monopoly on the design team, right? Design is in every part of how a company ships product. It's in the process. It's how engineering thinks about the solutions they're building. It's recognizing that most of the time, especially as enterprise, you're not the end customer. So understanding what the customer really wants, the versus building independent silo technologies. All of these things become important. So we work closely with engineering and product management teams on making sure both that there is an understanding across the company of what that means and how to chat with customers and how to spend more hours with customers, but it is also on how the process by which we build software is built in a way that forces us to make this happen. So, for example, we're pushing internally a lot, and we're starting to do training and education around this on design thinking and how you start with a customer problem, with research in that customer problem, and then you execute from there. We still have some time to go, I think, but there is a huge recognition internally and within the community externally that we're making good progress in that area, and it shows in product. If you look, for example, 2 years ago, 3 years ago on vSphere, and you look today, there is a huge move forward, progress from user experience perspective. Are we there yet? Absolutely not, but we're definitely on the right path.
Great. Right.
And a little bit more on that is that the research that we are doing, and this product research program is not a silo, right? So the research should be accessible and possible for everyone on the team, and that's really where the exposure hours comes from, is everyone being exposed to the users. So hopefully by having this program and a panel of users who want to talk with us and show us how they use our work, then we can bring in everyone else who's working on the product so that we can all get aligned. And a lot of times there's without this kind of mentality, you can get into a lot of arguments about, well, it should be this or it should be that. But when you are all witnessing and synthesizing the same raw data together, that's when the alignment can come, and that's when the team can move together.
Right, I can imagine that. And I mean, when we're talking about design here too, I mean, some people like Steve Jobs and others think about the beveled edges of aluminum cases or how an image button looks and the coloring of things. But what you're really talking about when you talk about design is user flow, right? And use cases on how to accomplish complicated IT management tasks, right? Which is a little bit less about the designing of GUI elements and components and more of the workflow and the user experience of a task and managing, you know, large amounts of data and compute resources or network fabric through some kind of user interface. But it's much more of a functional design than it is aesthetic design.
So I think it's both, but yes, the aesthetics are the kind of the 10% or 20% versus the 80%. We want our users to effectively, efficiently finish a task and be delighted as they do that. So we want you to achieve the goal that you're set to do, the use case that you're actually set to achieve. We want you to do that as quickly as possible, and we want you to be delighted as you do it. And there are different kind of areas of focus. As effective means we need to understand the workflows very well. We need to be able to understand the use cases very well. We need to do the right research up front to do this. Efficient means that the workflows need to work really well for that use case. We need to anticipate edge cases. We need to anticipate things other than the happy path or outside of the happy path. And delightfully means we need to have those, the beautiful elements on top of it. But it doesn't, beautiful but not effective or efficient isn't really that helpful.
And consistently as well, which is where the Clarity design system really helps make the cohesive experience across all our products.
Yeah.
Right. I got to ask this, and I probably know what the answer is. You're going to probably not be able to answer this question, but I'll ask it anyway. When it comes to the APIs, we have a lot of PowerShell users that are scripting, controlling data centers programmatically. Do you guys ever experience or spend time looking at, are we missing APIs or functionality that a programmer would use to control infrastructure? Do you guys ever get into that kind of workflow?
Yeah, so I think we do, and we're spending more time there. The way we think about it is user experience is how the user experiences the products. UI is one way of doing so, but it's not the only way. And so the developer experience, the customer experience, your support experience, all of these are experiences that you have with a product, and all of these are experiences that we want to make, effective, consistent, efficient, and delightful. So absolutely.
Nice. Good to know that. I think a lot of us care about that. Although certainly HTML5 and the GUI experience moving there is also a big one that a lot of users care about as well. So I don't want to downplay that. It's one of our largest community threads is moving to the HTML5 client and what you get and what you don't get. So thanks for working on that. You mentioned some of the stuff you do at VMworld, where you get people in and look at what that experience. Are you guys planning on doing something similar for VMworld this year?
Yes, we are, and we are working on getting into the official program as well. So if you have any hookups with that, we're happy for that. But yeah, it's been growing over the last couple of years. A couple of years ago, I think we were in a building a few hotels away. People had to really navigate, and they had to be really motivated to go. But everyone that went had an amazing time and loved being able to get a sneak peek of what the design teams are working on and know that the feedback that they're providing actually gets put into the product. And then last year we were at the Mandalay. We were had about 300 or so attendees at our sessions. And again, a lot of them would comment about how this is what they look forward to the most at VMworld. And so we really want to spread the word so that more and more people who are using our products can interact with us.
And the great thing about the VMworld Design Studio is that we're happy to take any interaction with users, but these are not like a minute or two interactions or a quick feature suggestion. These are half an hour, one-on-one with a designer or a few designers working closely to listen to your use cases and why you want to do this. So it's a very, very expensive experience that customers leave. The comments we get on the VMware Design Studio are very, very positive. The customers leave feel like we've listened, we understand the use case, not just a quick, here's what I need or here's something that works or doesn't work. But you truly understand what I need to get done, and now I trust that VMware has that message. So it's very, getting very, very close to customers, which is awesome to see.
All right. So I guess I'll drill down on what type of sessions you're running there. So I assume if you had sessions and there were 300 people there, that you must have had that in Schedule Builder and that or in Content Calendar. And so is it a session where there's a speaker that's talking about design criteria and engaging or presenting? What are the type of formats you're running at VMworld? Is it session based or is it session based plus interview experience kind of environment? What are you running there?
We had a lot of different types of sessions. They weren't actually in the official schedule. We did our own outreach, and
okay.
we let people sign up on their own.
Okay.
But what some of the teams did were prototype testing. We had some new concepts that were put in front of a table of users for a specific product, things like that. And then we also did some participatory workshops where we had, for example, a group of admins draw out what a mobile vCenter would look like. So there was a wide range. Some of it was evaluative to make sure that what we were doing before it goes into development is right, and more of like really early on kind of, we're just starting to look into this particular feature, what is resonating or not resonating.
Okay, that's interesting. So it was grassroots, homegrown, get people there. So yeah, one of the questions or things you'll have to consider is, do you want more people? And if you want more people, we can certainly, in the community, help you get more people. We do have access to Schedule Builder. We could create a couple events for you in the catalog list, and then you would get lots of people. But I think one of the things you have to decide is how many slots do you have, and how do you want to recruit people into that. But it sounds interesting, especially if you're getting the feedback that people find this the most interesting thing to do at VMworld, because that's always good feedback. So I guess the question for you guys is, how many people are you looking for this year?
We're happy to speak to as many customers as we humanly could. And we send many members of the design team, so we should chat. We're happy to speak to as many customers as possible.
Yeah, we would love to get your help with the schedule builder. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's what we found when we were running the community sessions a couple of years ago. We had great sessions. V Brown Bag does all these tech talks, and we could certainly get you a couple slots in the community session area as well. But what we found is, if we didn't, and we live stream these so people can watch them online, but if we didn't get them in Schedule Builder, we literally would have maybe 4 to 6 people show up, right, per session. When we got them in Schedule Builder, we went to 50 people and completely booked, right? So it is one of those things that you're careful what you wish for, because as soon as you go into the content catalog, you're going to get 50 people show up, right, versus the handful of people that heard about it through organic means. So yeah, happy to engage with you guys on that, and let the community know that you guys are doing this work and you're looking for people to participate. So, and then Graham in chat, before we move on here, Graham in chat does mention that you actually do need vmware.design/research.html. It doesn't default to HTML, so that's the URL there, right? So I'm corrected there. Yeah. As well, Graham mentions that you guys have a Twitter handle, which is @VMwareDesign. So you can, everybody that's listening to this can go give @VMwareDesign a follow. Who's actually managing that account?
So designers on the team actually manage that. So you're hearing directly from designers sharing product design experiences, where we are at different VMUs. Kind of insights from what we're working on as a design team. It's completely managed by the team, by the design team itself.
Right.
The next VMUG that we'll be attending is in Indianapolis in July. So if any listeners are planning to go there, we would love to see you in person.
Right, and it is definitely a nice site to go look at and see what you have there. I think you do also present some use cases or research. You have the Twitter handle there as well, and you actually have kind of like some career information there on the site as well. So nice clean site. Talks about your typical study is 30 to 60 minutes. You guys run some remote studies, in-person studies. So definitely check out the site. You can sign up, and good, nice, clean site to go engage with and learn more about the program. So happy that you have that. Do you guys actually ever do outbound on some of the study results? Like, do you ever blog about kind of things that you've learned, or how do you showcase what you have learned, aside from but trying to bundle it up to the engineering teams and get them to act on some of that? Are you actually promoting some papers around some design concepts that you are spending time researching? Do you do any of that work?
So we do blog at medium.com/VMware Design. It's on the VMware Design site as well. There is a link to that Medium publication. A lot of it is about design and how we do the design process. We're looking at we're going to start doing case studies. It's not specifically what we learned from research. We try to kind of we don't specifically call out or share specific results from research studies, but we will start blogging about case studies. For example, how did we plan, or how did we change the design of the summary page, VM summary page on vSphere, and why, and kind of share our thinking, the research that we've done, so you kind of get in the mind of a designer for a full blog post. So a lot of that would be coming soon. We try to share a lot about our design thinking and what we're doing with design. So our Medium publication is a really good place to go read what the team has been doing and kind of the stuff that's on top of mind for us.
All right, cool. So we have research and engineering across the globe here now in Europe and in Asia and obviously in the Americas. So where does the hub of the design team actually sit across the globe? Are you guys mostly in the U.S. or are you around the globe where engineers live?
So we try to. We're mostly in Palo Alto for now, but we're expanding very rapidly in Europe. So we're expanding to offices like Sofia. We're expanding in India and Armenia. So we're trying. Our goal is to have designers wherever we have engineers and product managers. We wanna kind of create that three-legged stool that we think is really important to getting any successful product or any product successful, which is product management, engineering, and design or user experience. And I think if you look at the careers page in the VMware.design side, we're expanding the design team like we've never done in VMware's 20-year history. So we have a lot of investment. The company recognizes we need to bridge that gap of consumer to enterprise user experience, and we're putting a lot of investment there, and we will continue to do so.
Okay, great. So now I'll transition into the kind of the last 10, 15 minutes of the podcast, which is, so I'll start with Anna. So Anna, first, how do you say your last name? I'm just curious how you say that.
Sure. My sister came up with something when she was a high school teacher. It's something to teach her students how to pronounce our last name, which is Pan, like a frying pan, Lily like a flower, and O like O.
Panlilio. Anna Marie Panlilio. Yep. All right, great. And are you on Twitter?
I am.
All right. What's your at handle? Do you know it?
Yes, I do. It's Code Sliced. CODESLICED.
Code Sliced. Nice. Like it. I like it a lot. That's really cool. And what is the biggest problem that keeps you up at night that you're trying to solve when we talk about interface design? What's the one or two big things that you're going through your head trying to figure out how to make better in 2018?
Well, I've been focusing a lot on the internal processes around research, such as how do we reduce the complexity of connecting design teams with qualified participants for studies. That has been a big part of it, and currently I'm working on how we're measuring the success of our UX teams, and so that is an interesting challenge as well, and we're just getting started on that that piece.
Yeah, so more organizational challenge than it is design challenged, right? That's how any good program has to get going. It has to try to solve some of the big organizational problems at the same time, right? Because that's usually where there's a hole. Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, good. Jihad, how do you say your last name? And I'll ask you also, are you on Twitter, and what's your Twitter handle?
Sure. Last name is Afone, and the Twitter handle is JAFFONEH.
All right, so right, your first character, last name, JAFFONEH, right? Great. So you're on Twitter. What keeps you up at night?
Work related, right?
Yeah. If you have children, I know that never goes away. But we'll just ask you from a work perspective. Yep.
No, I think a few things, but I think the number one thing that I'm focused on is we need to grow a strong design team within VMware, and we need to transform how we do design in the enterprise, how we do design at VMware, and by that transform how we do design at the enterprise. One of the thoughts, we're at Radio, which is the internal R&D conference at VMware. It's one of the most exciting things we do every year. We kind of get together as an R&D organization and do a conference. 1,800 people from the R&D organization are here. And there was a session on customer experience, and one of the quotes that kind of sticks with you is, just because you're doing this at work, it doesn't justify a bad user experience. So, enterprise is just really, for a while, we just really used the term enterprise user experience as a way of lowering the bar for enterprise, and that's nonsense. at the end of the day, you're the same. We're designing for the same human. It's just you're using it in an enterprise setting. So we want to break that barrier between consumer and enterprise. With that comes a lot of things. We need to have better elevate design better internally, especially with engineering and product management teams. We need to be we need to have the right resourcing and investment. All of these things are things that we're working on. But I think the number one thing we're pushing for is we need to hire the best designers in the industry, period, and we're working on it.
Very nice. All right, very good, very good. I always want to ask also our guests when it comes to AWS and cloud and hybrid cloud. So I'll give you a little bit of time to switch gears from that perspective. And from a design perspective, a lot of our IT practitioners now are starting to go to AWS reInvent. There's all of these APIs that are available for building things on AWS. We're certainly moving into the AWS space with VMC. Are you guys starting to experience kind of user integrations and challenges around the hybrid cloud environment with AWS and different tools that are showing up for managing these environments? What's your experience with regards to the cloud trend and specifically AWS? Anything there? And if there isn't, that's fine. I was just curious what your perspective is.
Yeah. So I think one of the things we focus on a lot is that we want the user to be able to manage their hybrid environments, whether it's on-prem, whether it's in cloud, whether it's in the edge. We want to be able to manage that environment seamlessly, and with that comes a lot of challenges, both user experience and technological challenges that I think VMware is probably the best company out there to solve. Things related to networking and user experience of what does it mean to manage a hybrid environment that's both on-prem and in the cloud. So there are a lot of these challenges that we're looking at. So this is not specifically to AWS. I think VMC and AWS, VMware Cloud and AWS is one of the vehicles we use to test and experiment and learn about a lot of the things that we talked about today. And it's a great vehicle as well for research that's based not just on talking to customers, but also kind of learning from analytics and engagement and retention and so on and so forth. So it's been exciting to kind of do that type of research and that type of user experience design over the last year or so.
Nice. Anne-Marie, from a cloud perspective and engaging with users, do you find any difference between users that are enterprise users versus some of the startup or smaller, younger people that are, I look at the size of companies that are AWS, sometimes they're smaller companies, sometimes they're enterprise companies. Do you see different personas with regards to users when you're looking at cloud versus when you're looking at the enterprise?
Yeah, some of those are emerging now as organizations are signing up through VMC, and there's definitely some distinctions there that didn't exist before. We can connect you with those teams that are working on that, so that if you have more specific questions around it. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting learning experience as these cloud products are getting up to speed and getting out there, and yeah, like I said before, the technology is changing so fast, and what people's roles are really changing, and so we have to be out there talking with people as much as possible so that we can really meet their needs.
And one of the things we do internally as well as a design team and working with engineering teams is that we have personas of, this is the persona of someone who uses this product or uses these set of products, and we have company personas, because the org chart or the role of a cloud or a BI admin, for example, with a 4-people company or a 10-people company is very different from the role at a 5,000 people company or 10,000 people company. Right. Even though it's technically the same individual persona, but the roles change. And we do a lot of that research to understand what does it mean to be this type of persona at this type of company persona to kind of help us design better solutions that fit that use case in that context.
Yeah, that's what we're experiencing in the IT space, right? Is that the problem set that people are actually spending their time working on is going to start to shift, as you look at cloud services and consumption of cloud through a service model, where you're not spending as much time doing core system setup as much as you are functionality using feature sets in the products, and then how do you expose that feature set in a way that is consumable quicker and easier than in the past? Because as you roll out services in a cloud environment, people aren't necessarily needing to read a lot of manuals to set them up and configure them as much as they are just needing to know how to organically consume them as they are made available. So it's interesting from the IT community perspective, because we're seeing a different role start to develop there.
Yeah, and even from a recruiting standpoint, some of the challenges that came about this year was just that we needed to have run some studies with CFOs, because some of the cloud products were focused on cost, and that's a totally different group of people that we would reach out to before to participate in a product study.
Right. There isn't like there's less work, but the work roles are shifting, right, to cost management and optimization of compute resources, and even functionality consumption, right, where it used to be you get an ELA, it would sit there and you didn't really have to worry about how much compute resources you were using with your ELA, but now you buy the ELA or you buy the service in the cloud and you're charged for network bandwidth, storage usage, as well as compute usage. So the things that you're concerned about, like financial analysis, also starts to show up. So yeah, interesting space. So we're reaching the top of the hour. I'll give anyone any final last questions from the community or last points you want to make before I thank you. So any last points before we wrap up here?
Sign up for the product research program.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big wrap up for the end of the call. Is I think thanks for coming on the community podcast, and we'll definitely do some social out. Let all of the experts know. Maybe we'll try to get you in a vBrown session, and maybe get a session for some of your programs into the schedule builder this year, because I think that's very possible. Again, http://vmware.design/research.html. Go check that out. Sign up and give their Twitter handle a follow there, because at VMware Design, they're very, very responsive, as well as you can go get in a room with them and give them some feedback about design. So again, Jihad, thanks for being on the show. Anne-Marie, thanks for coming, and I wish you well, and we'll certainly try to get people to sign up. So thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, that's great. All right, thanks again. Sorry about the late start. One more time, we're going to get the audio worked out this time. We got the cameras worked out, and we'll be back again at 12 to 1 next Wednesday. And until then, I hope everybody has a great week. From a barbecue perspective, Corey, what's the barbecue report this year, or this today?
Barbecue report. Ribs this weekend.
Ribs this weekend. Ribs weekend. Dry or wet?
Yes. What's that?
Dry or wet?
I do them dry.
What rub?
I'm the one.
I'll do a combination. I'll usually do I'll usually do 3 racks. 1 I'll do dry, and then 2 I'll do wet.
Nice. I use Mr. Stubbs when I'm doing my dry, right, which is a particular barbecue rub that we have. Tony, yeah, we always have to have a little barbecue before it's time for lunch here. So there you go. That's what it is. Corey's going to be doing 3 racks of ribs. Everybody meet up at his house. Where you live, Corey? You got that address you want to tell us all?
Yeah. I live in Palo Alto.
Yeah, exactly. 600 Greer Road, Palo Alto. Come on by.
Don't you live right there next to the turtles on campus?
Yeah.
Exactly.
We were thinking about some barbecued turtle soup. Isn't that supposed to be pretty good?
Oh. No, that's bad.
That's bad. I don't think they would appreciate that. All right, that's the end. You've heard the barbecue report.
All right, thanks everybody.
Tony, thanks for being here. Graham, thanks for chiming in. Thanks for the guests. We're going to go get some lunch, and we'll be back again next week with audio that's working better, we hope. Hitting the big end button now.